District 9 City Councilor. Today is Tuesday, April 4th. We are here regarding docket 0464, message and order authorizing the City of Boston to submit to the Mass School Building Authority the statement of interest dated March 23rd, 2017 for the Carter School located at 396 Northampton Street in Boston. I'd like to remind folks that this is a public hearing. It is being recorded and broadcast both on Comcast Channel 8 and RCN Channel 82. I'd ask folks to silence their electronic devices. At the conclusion of the presentation and question and answer period, we will take public testimony, and I'd appreciate it if folks would sign up. To my left by the door, there's a sign-in sheet, and please state your name, any affiliation, and address. I am joined to my right by my friend from Grove Hall, Councilor Tito Jackson, and I will now turn it over to the school department for a presentation. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good afternoon, Chairman Siomo and Councilor Jackson. I'm Carlton Jones, the Executive Director of Capital and Facilities Management for Boston Public Schools. And on behalf of Superintendent Chang, I'm here to present the Carter School Statement of Interest to move it forward. As you know, that we were here about 2 weeks ago moving forward the MSBA ARP projects, which I'll cover in a moment. I'm here with my colleague, Brian McLaughlin, Chief of Staff from the Public Facilities Department, and together we're going to have a brief presentation and we entertain your questions. So just to remind you that the Massachusetts School Building Authority, which we call the MSBA, has two programs that we like to partner with them on, the one being the Accelerated Repair Project Program, and then the CORE program. Both of them require statements of interest, or SOIs, and we're here for the second half. Just to remind you that we had submitted 11 SOIs a couple of weeks ago, which your body has approved. Thank you very much. Moving forward, and you can see on page 3 those particular schools, just to remind you. And primarily those were windows, roof, and boiler projects. On page 4, we're here to talk about the Carter School. And so this is our third submission, 3 times as a charm. We are submitting because the school department and the mayor is determined to have this project happen one way or another. We wish to partner with the school MSBA on this project because it's such an important project. Currently, Carter School is a 1-story building, approximately 1,300 square feet, 13,500 square feet, serves about 25 students on average. So it's a small building, but it serves such an important core need. The problem with it being a small building, however, is that it's lacking some critical spaces. Certainly, we're space constrained, so we're only able to serve approximately 25 students who are severely special needs and have multiple physical challenges. The space does not allow us really to serve many more students, although there are more students that we could serve that we now have to outplace. So we're trying to have a facility where we can serve better the students that we need to accommodate. One of the areas that's key, but certainly not the only area, is that we're not able to provide aquatic therapy services at that location. Right now, we have to put all of the students on buses and send them out to Canton where they can receive aquatic therapy services. We wish to do that at this new location. Additionally, we're missing gymnasium space, assembly room space, music therapy, art therapy, family room space. It's just not a large enough facility. The good news is there's land there that we could better utilize for this purpose. So with our statement of interest, I want to make sure that we all understand that this is in concert with the work that we had just concluded with the Boston Build BPS, in that it does specifically state that the Carter School has sufficient need for improvement, and so this is in concert with that. It also talks about just the fact that the overall condition of the school, whether we had the addition or not, still needs to be upgraded. So this is also in concert of that. Don't have the video here to show you today just for brevity, but on page 6, if you really wanted to see, it's a short 2.5-minute video that really gets into the need for the aquatic therapy pool. It features a student by the name of Marcus who has, you can see him at the beginning where he really needs to have a better sense of himself and the way his body functions in space and how the aquatic therapy pool provides that for him. So it's a great little video. The link is here, and if you wish, I could send you an actual file where one can just click and it can go. Last page, just to familiarize you with the process going forward. Boston Public Schools, we're going to submit the SOI this Friday. So Friday's the deadline. We'll have it submitted before Friday, actually. As you know, it needs to be accompanied by votes from City Council as well as School Committee. Today, our hearing will enable a vote tomorrow, I understand, that you'll be able to bring this up with the entire committee tomorrow. Also, tomorrow, the School Committee will hear the same matter. So they're going to hear the matter and also vote tomorrow so that we can move this forward and make our submission on Friday. So with that, I just turn to Mr. McLaughlin, if you have any things you'd like to add.
I think you summed it up pretty well.
All right, then. So, Mr. Chairman, we invite questions from you.
Okay. So when you cite the building challenges, how is there, how are you going to address them through this project?
Right. So the great thing about the modules that the MSBA puts forward is their very first one is a feasibility study. So they get in with their team and they bring a design team in to actually look at the building and see where it has its strengths and weaknesses, quite frankly. And we anticipate they're going to note, mechanical systems need to be replaced, those kinds of basic bones, if you will, of the building. Before we even talk about the program, but just how well does the structure serve as a structure? And then we go into the program. What is the program? What goes on in the school, and how well does the building support what goes on? And that's when we'll begin to talk about, one, it doesn't serve enough students, two, it doesn't have these areas that we mentioned, and most certainly we'll talk about the aquatic therapy need, where right now, year-round, whether it's the middle of the winter or the summer months, we're sending kids to Canton in order to get this need done.
We've been joined by City Councilor Michael Flaherty.
Good morning.
So the statement of interest submission is the way of the city of Boston or any district throughout the Commonwealth to inform the MSBA that a particular facility has some deficiencies or issues. So we relate to them through the SOI, their application, that this particular school doesn't have these certain spaces that Carlton alluded to. They don't have the appropriate classroom space. They don't have the gymnasium, art, family room, music therapy rooms that would allow the educational program for the Carter School to be better delivered.
And so that would be done through a feasibility study.
Right. So the statement of interest is submitted to the MSBA. They conduct their review process of all the statements of interest that will be submitted by April 7th. That usually takes several months. So statements of interest that are generally submitted by the April deadline would be invited into the MSBA program in the fall of 2017. That would then set in play a feasibility study, which would require the city to bring on an OPM and a designer and then look at various solutions for the issues that are represented at that facility.
Right. And would it also indicate what kind of disruption it would have to the school construction timelines and such?
Yeah, so based upon the various solutions that would be explored through the feasibility study, there could be potential for new school construction, a significant addition renovation. And when looking at those options, we definitely keep in mind how it would disrupt the existing student body there and whether or not they may have to be relocated for a certain period of time, especially in the case of new construction.
Let me give my colleagues a chance here. Councilor Tito Jackson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you both for this really important work. The Carter School is literally at the epicenter of all of our work around opportunity and achievement gaps. The work that they do with students with multiple handicaps is absolutely amazing, and it's done in spite of the space, not helped because of the space that's actually there. And I just want to, again, that's one of the most talented staffs I've seen in all education. In addition, I've toured the building several times. They need a pool, absolutely need a pool. And to think about traffic to Canton, Mass, and back, in particular loading individuals who are in usually electric wheelchairs and in and out. It's just a huge time constraint relative to getting there, getting back, and also being able to participate while they're there. So I think as the flagship city in the state of Massachusetts, that we should be best in class in this space. So I guess the question I had is around how much do you have an idea of how much each out of district placement averages?
Ooh, Council, I don't have that here, but I can get
Yeah.
that for you.
If you can get that, because although there's 25 students there, many of our out of district placements cost us in the hundreds of thousands of dollars annually. So I think there's a real big case to be made about why this is so important. And I guess the other question would be, is this building is tiny. And so at what point do we actually say it's 13,500 square feet, a pool, a gym, assemblies? First off, a pool and a gym are probably bigger than what you currently have on site.
Sure.
And mind you, you'd be taking one of my favorite parking spaces. But when it comes down to the amazing function of that school, how do we determine and say raising the building to get and maximize the optimal aspects? Because the other piece that I saw in the hallways, two wheelchairs can't go down the hallway.
Right.
That's correct.
And you have a school
Yep.
where many of the individuals are, many of our young people are in wheelchairs. So I guess, the physical plant currently isn't really well suited, even if you put a new boiler and all that other stuff in there. So I guess, how does the process work such that we say, you know what, we want to build the best possible school for students in Boston, or actually in the country, who have multiple handicaps? How do we make that determination between fixing versus reconstructing?
Well, I think to both of your points, one, not only out of district students, but there are also students in district that are out of the schools that could benefit from being moved to the Carter School as well.
Yeah.
That's also something that the MSBA will be looking at.
Okay.
So they're not just looking at the 25 students that are in this building now. They're looking at the whole breadth of students that could be better served at a facility like this. So then it gets to your point relative to the building itself, the existing structure. It's inadequate for the student body it serves now. Part of the MSBA process in their feasibility study is that we have to look at a no-build option and what it would cost to upgrade that facility. But I think it's a pretty clear understanding that just making upgrades to the existing footprint of the building would probably be inadequate for a project moving forward.
Right, and certainly just to use the existing structure, we'd never get the pool out of there for sure. There was a study done in 2015 when we submitted then, where we actually showed an addition that was larger than the existing school.
building.
So now imagine an existing that's larger than the existing school, plus the existing school would potentially create this new Carter School structure that we're hoping to achieve.
Yeah. So I guess, and I'll turn it back over to the chair. I want to actually compliment the administration on actually getting the money that we deserve. We know that we put a whole lot of money, and hopefully you guys will do an evaluation of how much money has the city of Boston put into the MSBA. And it'll be really great to hear actually probably depressing to hear how much money we've put in versus the dollars that we've gotten back. And so as other districts throughout the state have rebuilt and redone every single one of their schools, we have not. And I think it's so critical, in particular for this student population with multiple handicaps and folks who have many challenges, that we actually make sure that we put all of our resources in there. And what I would like to see, my dream would be to level that building and to have 4 times as many students served by the school and that amazing staff over at the Carter School. This amazing, amazing work that happens there. And I think the other piece is if we understand how much our out-of-district placements cost for this student population, I'm sure the case could easily be made that this is way more cost efficient than sending people out of district for the treatments as well as the aquatic therapy and making sure that our young people in Boston get the best in the whole world relative to the many new things that are now on offer to ensure that these young people get the best level of instruction and care at the school site level. So thank you so much, and kudos to the school department and administration around making sure that we get what we deserve from the MSBA.
Right. And Counselor, not to belabor the point, but I just want to make sure that the information I provide you is what you're looking for. So we have out-of-placement students for a variety of needs, but I'm going to provide the number who are most like the Carter Center students, the ones with multiple physical handicap.
Exactly.
Okay.
That's exactly what I was looking at.
Great, thanks. Counselor Flaherty.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good afternoon, Brian and Carlton. Just a quick comment, picking up where Councilor Jackson left off, just a sort of a kudos to the administration, to Mayor Walsh and to your team for putting a genuine effort behind the MSBA opportunities there. There's so many missed opportunities. Sitting here as a member of the council in the previous administration, just didn't go after those funds that we're going after aggressively and genuinely. So the compliment to your staff and to the team over under you guys, as well as to the mayor. And then just one quick question, which is, will the students have to move to a temporary location while these repairs are being made? And if so, where and for how long?
That's something that will be figured out once we start collaboration with the MSBA. So we'd likely find that out probably around this time next year,
Right.
Depending upon what the actual solution is, whether it's new construction, addition, renovation. With the amount of work that's needed at this building, I couldn't foresee them staying at that building. But at the time that we find out that it's going to be a major project, then we'd need to work with the Boston Public Schools to figure out where these kids would be attending school while construction is
So
ongoing.
more likely than not that they'll have to move temporarily, and then you guys need to start to get your heads around kind of where an appropriate location would be in district, I assume. We're not talking about
Yeah,
spreading kids out through
I think-
out of district placement, but
Sure. Once we have the authorization to submit this to the MSBA, again, they go through the review process. We'll probably hear in the fall whether or not this will be moved forward to collaborate with them. And I think maybe that would be a good time to start the conversations on where we can move these kids or what facilities could take these kids on.
right, and just, if you don't already know it, the little advice is to engage those parents earlier or as early as possible, just so they can start to get their hands and heads around, where their child will be going when these renovations take place. So it's obviously, it's an encouraging sign to see that the MSBA funds are there, and we're going to take advantage of them, much-needed repairs and upgrades, as well as some new opportunities for our students. So good stuff. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Great.
Thank you, Brian, and thank you, Colin.
Brian, and just to add one note, the Franciscan Children's Hospital in my district has a great day school. Not sure if that's appropriate for the children at the Carter, but they are severely challenged kids at the Franciscan. I know they just built a therapy pool maybe within the last couple of years. Might be something to look into that may even serve interimly instead of Canton, possibly, as well. Just a thought. Well, I will be reporting this out favorably tomorrow, and I guess we will conclude the docket 0464.
Thank you.